Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Johanna from High Tea Toys, and today I'll be doing a review. I know, shock, that's been a while. As you know, if you've been watching me for a little while, I was given this fantastic modular to have as a project over the bank holiday weekend, and I've been really enjoying putting this together on the first bank holiday of the year. You will know as well that this is one of these modulars that I've been on the fence about for such a long time, so it's actually really great to have this in my hands. But I am obviously very critical of this one because this is the one modular that I thought I was going to skip for ages because it wasn't quite what I wanted. Mostly because of the garage and the fueling station, petrol station side of things. I'm just going to be talking you through my thoughts on this set, what I liked about it, what I don't like about it, and also next steps, because as you know, I've got some plans for this set. Having built it, I stand by that reasoning, because I haven't got a corner for it to be on, where that could be road on either side, which is still the case. However, I have come to appreciate that the corner shape actually works quite well for the place that I put it temporarily. The space I put it in, having the corner garage in the Calyx unit, like at the back there, I could see the more of the building. So if it was a flat fronted building, I think I wouldn't have seen as much of it. So actually, the corner garage shape worked really well for the place it was sitting in. So my first impression is when you build a modular, it's the best. I absolutely love building modulars. Like, this was a joy to build. The instructions are really clear. It's a really fun project. I basically dedicated my bank holiday Monday off to this build, and I just had such a nice time. It wasn't the best weather, so I just could sit here listening to an audiobook and just put this together, and I just had a lot of fun building. My initial thoughts when I started with the first stage, which is always like putting all the tiles down, is, oh my god, there's literally a room. The building's going to be so small because you put so many tiles down. Because of the corner shape, you basically tile like half the base plate, and I was just thinking, god, like there's not going to be that much building. And actually, once it's built, that kind of concern goes away quite a lot. In person, I love the colour of this building, even more than I thought I was going to, because actually it stands out really nicely to any of the buildings that I have. It's definitely it's a more vibrant colour, because obviously the only other sort of colour similar to this is the medium nougat that's used in both Assembly Square and a bookshop. So this is burnt orange, so it stands out even more. It's a really nice sort of colour. With the blue windows, it has a very unique look to all the other ones. Also, I'm a really big fan of the corner detailing here. Like, I really like how they integrated that. I think that looks really good. If you are a longer term viewer, you will know that actually I have used a similar design on one of my mocks just because I actually really loved this look and I wanted to copy it, and I did that before I thought I was going to have this in my city. I wanted to have something like that in my city because I really liked this design. And it works really well for where I have it. I slightly changed it, but it's definitely inspired by this. I think the fact that they've added some little flowers here at the top windows makes it feel really come alive. The actual apartment inside is really cute. I'm just going to have to open it up so I can kind of see it myself and remind myself of what it is. But yeah, so it's a really pretty like build inside. The kitchen especially and the TV are fantastic builds. It's slightly sparse, there could be more, but considering where we are with modulars, I think this is a really nice interior. Actually, I think it's really nicely detailed and a very pretty build, and it's a very pretty apartment to have. So actually that was a really fun build. I also really like the, I'm just going to try and show you. These windows that you use here, which are like this sort of like bay window type design, which kind of feel like, I think originally they may have been like windshields for cars, which you use sideways, and actually I think that's a really fun technique and I really enjoyed building those. So I really like the roof terrace. It's really pretty with a little like parasol, a nice little lounge chair, some flowers. So I think especially as modulars go, there's a bit more interest to the roof, which I really appreciated. I thought it was really nice to actually have incorporated the roof into an extra floor effectively. And you know, if you had like a little roof access in your actual flat, you would actually use the roof because, let's be honest, that's extra space. So I really appreciated that. I thought that was a really, really nice detail. Whoop. So then when you move one floor down, you've got the veterinarian, or the vet, which again, I'm very impressed with this build. This was a really fun floor to build because there's an integrated wall which is at an angle, and I think what I enjoyed the most out of this build was building at this sort of corner garage angle, because you know, we all know that angles in Lego can be a real big pain and it's actually really tricky to do. So actually learning how to do it in this modular was really fantastic, and seeing how they did it and how they incorporate it, because I think that's a skill that potentially, maybe not soon, but it is something that I can use in the future in some of my mocks. I really like the integrated like aquarium. but builds in this actual veterinarian clinic are really, really sweet. I love the little place where they have the the amphibian cage for the frog. I like the desk, it looks really cool. My only complaint, I think, is that the door to get into the veterinarian clinic has like a bit of a step up, and it's actually quite big if you're a minifigure, so that doesn't seem to be entirely integrated. But this floor was really sweet to build, and I was really excited about it, and it looks really, really good. So actually, so far so good, but that didn't come as a surprise, because when analysing whether or not I wanted to purchase this, initially I was very much like, I like these two floors, I don't like the bottom floor. So that's really where the crunch time is for me, and that's really why I'm still going to be trying the alternate build. So, moving this off, which is, you can see how pretty it is. It's just, it is such a nice build. And like when you lift it up, this is a bit scary, but you can see all the builds of how you make the bottom. These two floors, absolutely love them. As you know, this build actually comes with a little car. It's a tow truck. It's actually a really sweet build. I think this truck, for as trucks go, I definitely didn't need it in my city, but it's actually a really sweet design. I really like it. It's very functional. It has a lovely little feature where you can lower the hook at the back. Really like the car. Thought it was a nice addition. And then you have this bit. So this was really an interesting build technique. I have to say, building technique wise, this was a really fun floor to do. But this floor does still hold some issues for me. Well, there's some reasons for that. Point one, this build is on a tan base plate. Now, I think a lot of people that like tan base plates, this is perfect because the tan one is slightly rarer, it's a bit hard to get hold of, it's a bit more expensive, so that's awesome. However, what that does is when you have no floor in the garage, it kind of creates like a really odd sand feel to it, which personally, like, this is so subjective and like definitely doesn't apply to everybody, but personally, I would have really liked to have this base plate be light bluish grey, because I feel like that would have emulated concrete a little bit more, which I think would have been a more appropriate flooring for the actual garage. It's not a matter put off, it doesn't really matter, but that's just a really subjective thing that I kind of thought about when putting it together. I did really like the side build. Also, it has some really sweet features. So there is this thing at the back which you can push in, which then inside the building lifts up like the car lift, which is, I thought was really interesting. I really like that there's like a little feature for that. That's really makes it much more interesting as well. It's also fun to integrate that into the wall. And then my other favourite feature is that the garage door comes down really easily, so that's really nice. I think that's really sweet. Basically, those two features really do make it a really fun build. Also, I think the build of the actual refueling station is really nice. I don't really know why this thing is here. It's really small. I don't even really know what it is, but I'm sure that it makes sense to some people who have that at their petrol stations. To me, that's a bit weird. Now, my other complaint with this floor is, so there's a separate door here, which is to the veterinarian clinic, because it has like a little dog paw door handle, which is really nice. So inside the actual build, it's open. So this is the stairs up to the veterinarian clinic, but then there's no wall to separate that stairs from the garage. So imagine, I know we're talking about plastic bags, people, don't worry, I'm perfectly aware about my silly complaints. These are not complaints though, these are just things that I'm going to be overly critical of this set, because obviously I've been debating for so long if I wanted to get it or not. This floor is open, which also means that, like, obviously the person inside this garage can walk up, but imagine like going to take your dog to the vet and like it being open to a garage workshop. It'd be so much noise for like small animals, that'd be really distressing, and it just doesn't make any sense. And I know I feel really silly saying that because it's all plastic bricks, but I feel like if they went the extra way to give it a separate door, then I would have really liked to have that been more separate. I understand that would have been really tricky to do from a space perspective, but that's just my thoughts that I kept coming back to when I saw this. It makes no sense that this is open, because like the two front doors are like right next to each other. So this is the veterinarian door and this is like the door into the garage. So they're like literally right next to each other. So either have one door and have that as a design feature. I think that's my main complaint about this set. I think my worry and my reason why I initially wasn't going to get this set still holds up. I'm just not a fan of the garage thing. Now, I think if you're having a city with lots of vehicles and you like the more realistic sense, then yes, this is probably a really lovely addition, because it is really nice to have a little petrol station, a little car workshop, because it's what people have in cities. But then I was like, I have a really small city and it's really quite limited in space, so I originally wasn't going to get it because of the reason that it's a fantasy city, it doesn't need a petrol station. Like, that's just real estate I don't need to dedicate to something like that. But this bit of the building always made me doubt that, because this is just a bit that I still absolutely adore. I still think is absolutely beautiful, and I would absolutely love more of this. So, next steps. These are my thoughts on the actual Corner Garage build. But if you're not sure, if you want to get this set and you are potentially maybe deciding between this one and, for example, the police station, just really try and figure out what style of building you prefer, where you want it to sit, and if you want to have this functionality, because this is very likely to be the next modular to retire. So if you're not going to get it now, it's very likely to go in price the moment it retires. So really, like, try and think to yourself, is this something I would regret missing, or is it something that I'm happy to just let go? I'm very pleased I have it, don't get me wrong. I'm super, super grateful to my family for giving this to me. Honestly, it was the perfect project for a rainy bank holiday Monday. I really needed like a little distraction, so this came at the perfect time. However, I don't think I would have purchased it on my own necessarily, because of all these complaints. Having said that, that's obviously my thinking before I found the alternate build. When I saw the alternative mock, that's what swayed me to want this set, because actually I really like that design, and I thought the style of that build would fit my city much better. Now, I wanted to film this segment when I had it build up as my corner garage, just as my initial thoughts. So when you'll next see me, I will have mocked this with the help of rebrickable instructions, which I'll leave in the description below, into the pub. So I'm really excited to be remocking this. However, I really love this build. I think this is gorgeous. I think the colours are fantastic, and it suits my city surprisingly well. I do really actually love the corner shape of this building. If you want to see me mock this into the pub and alternate apartment building, stay tuned for part 2 to this video, because I will be reviewing it separately and also coming to conclusions about which one I'm going to keep in my city. But thank you so very much for watching this review of the Corner Garage. I hope it was somehow insightful. If you have any specific questions, please do leave them down in the comments. Super happy to answer anything that you may wonder about. I hope you liked this video. It's been a little while since I've done a proper modular review, so it's been really fun to talk about this build, mostly because I've just been thinking about it for so long. It's been really good to kind of share my thoughts on it, and I have it in real life to really talk about. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and all that jazz, and I will see you all really very soon for a part 2. So thank you so very much, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye! Howdo!